sense for everyone, even though I don't want that. I mean, he's done bloody fantastic. You know, he's a mentality monster. If you can get a top tier striker and Gyökeres coexist, great. But I don't see a world of Julian Alvarez, Gyökeres, Kai Havertz, Mikel Merino. And I'm trying to be respectful to Gabriel Jesus. He's probably going to depart. William Gallas, big up yourself. Big up DG and the chat. Hope everyone is surviving in this heat. Is there a watch along for England, Ghana? 90% likely, man. It's the last one before I go on holiday. You lot weren't rating the watch along, so I kind of put them to bed. Appreciate you. Should we not waste any time? Sadiq, big up yourself. And as the man has said, big up the champs, man. Where you been at, you fraud? Where's the watch alongs, man? Big up yourself, though, my brother. You lot weren't rating it, so I thought, you know what? Let me allow it. Just get an air conditioner. True. That can't help me at this moment in time, man. So, yeah, people, let's crack on and see what's concerning our football club, man. We got a fair amount to go. We got a fair amount to go through. That's the young player I was looking at. That's obviously what's going on with Portugal. I was just before we went live, I was just listening to music and just enjoying life, people. But let's start. I can't see my screen here. Let's move that so I can. First thing, the Mail Sport can reveal that Aston Villa owner Nassef Shawaris, forgive me for any mispronunciation, is determined to ignore all interest in Morgan Rogers unless he receives offers well above 100 mil. Now, there's obviously going to be a lot of gamesmanship between Morgan Rogers, Arsenal, and obviously Aston Villa and whoever is interested in him. Is he worth 100 odd million to you lot? What is the asking price you lot cut off? And do you make them right if they do look at the fees, as it says here, of a Yandi Amande, very talented, but not really been in the game that long, 100 odd million quid. Elliot Anderson's obviously going for that. Aston Villa owe it to themselves to demand as much money as possible, if I'm honest, and I see no reason why they can't get 100 odd mil. Allegedly, they've made their position clear, people. Aston Villa believed to have told clubs they do not want to sell Morgan Rogers. I mean, we've heard this plenty of times. Everybody's got an asking price, man. Everybody's got an asking price. And I've said this before. I don't want to keep repeating the same things. Aston Villa within their rights to ask for whatever the hell they want. He signed a new deal in November for 4 or 5 years. He's obviously a key player for England. Helped them get Champions League football as well as in the Europa League. The landscape is these players come for 100 odd mil. And then we also Declan Rice, Adam Wharton, no doubt, several players. But this is a bit of... Everyone's got an asking price. If he's made it clear that he wants to leave, you will have to end up selling. It's just everybody's keeping their poker face on and keeping their cards close to their chest. But for a gospel, Arsenal leads several clubs, including Chelsea, Man United, and PSG, with serious interest in the forward. Everybody's interested in the most prettiest girl in school. Atletico Madrid have ruled out selling Julian Alvarez to Barcelona as a matter of honor. Really? Everyone's got a price. And are currently exploring an agreement with Arsenal. The operation would consist of Julian Alvarez joining Arsenal in exchange for 40 to 60 million euros plus Victor Gyökeres. No doubt we've got admiration, but his heart is set on Barcelona. If that can't happen and he still wants to leave and we can make things happen, why not? But he doesn't want you, bro. Like, what's the point? Smoky Settings, appreciate you. Been waiting for you to go live, DG. We got some Arsenal to discuss, fam. Appreciate you. Get the talking points flowing. It was actually thunder. It shook my house with how loud it was. And again, it's looking brazy where that's concerned. And speaking of looking brazy, Uzbekistan have conceded a fourth. I'm not even quite sure who put the ball in the back of the net there, but it's 4-0 to Portugal. So, yeah. As I said, for what it's worth, would you sell him? Would you part ways with Gyökeres and 40 to 60 million to bring Julian Alvarez? Do you think we should just leave the Julian Alvarez stuff alone? Do you actually think I don't want to say that good, because there are some people that say, oh, but he didn't score that many goals in the La Liga and whatnot. Not everyone's convinced with the name Julian Alvarez, which is crazy to me. Allegedly, Andrea Berta has maintained contact with Julian Alvarez's camp since last summer and has explored different structures and mechanisms to sign him in recent months. Alvarez is very open to joining Arsenal should his dream move to Barcelona not materialize. I would do that deal. I think Gyökeres plus 60 mil is too much. How much do they want for him outright? You're looking at 100 odd mil, and there's no way on God's green earth we're parting with 100 odd mil for him. 100 odd mil, or best part of 85 to 100 odd mil for Morgan Rogers, 60 to 70 plus, whether it be a Tonali, whether it be a Bawardi. Then you throw in the 35 odd million for the Greek youth, the 10 million for Monga. Obviously, we don't know how much money Arsenal can have to spend. A lot of it there will be some departures and things of that ilk, but don't really sound believable. Admittedly, I don't remember if we actually spoke about this on the live stream, but Hand of Arsenal did speak about Julian Alvarez. If you remember, I stated there was another attacker I chose to keep anonymous. That player was indeed Julian Alvarez. The reason I said it was sensitive was because one of our players, in brackets, Gyökeres, was potentially involved. But let me just provide the facts for Arsenal fans. To my understanding, the following statements are 100% factual. And I mean, they were linked with Gyökeres when Berta was there. They have kept their interest. I know they're not alike, but you can actually see Gyökeres thriving at Atletico Madrid, if I'm completely honest. And also, if they were to let Julian Alvarez go, they would have a replacement. While again, they're not like for like. The player's dream is Barcelona. Personal terms agreed already, and obviously there's many plates spinning. You know, there's urgency, but there's not urgency. But if you're him, Julian Alvarez, one, you're probably going to wait till the World Cup's over. Two, I don't think anything's a coincidence. I do think if you're Barcelona, you have been waiting for Julian Alvarez to come out and say, yo, I want to leave, which he's done. So he's added fuel to the fire of those kind of rumors. My point of saying that is to say this: Barcelona are clearly one of those clubs that have several operations going on, and we've seen how they sign players. They'll make people wait. So Julian Alvarez is probably going to wait and 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 wait until it's become inevitable that you can't go to Barcelona, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, apparently Barcelona have always wanted Julian to go public with his desire to force Atletico's position. Atletico are adamant they will not sell to Barcelona and would rather sell abroad, but it won't stop Barca from trying. PSG, to my understanding, left the race due to Campos/Enrique not wanting a player who doesn't absolutely prioritize them, but I won't be shocked if they return due to the player's quality. Julian has been a target for Arsenal since last summer. Pardon me. After our group stage game, Arteta made it clear we must at least be in the race for the Argentine, which technically we are. But what's the race if you don't win it, especially because we won the Premier League? I can 100% confirm Atletico have interest in Gyökeres. Andrea Berta has maintained contacts with the camp since last summer, as then explored different structures and mechanisms to bring Julian Alvarez to North London in recent months. Reports about the English weather being a reason Julian and his family would not return to England are absolutely false. The player would be very open to joining Arsenal and has directly told us, should his dream to Barcelona become impossible, so he's on joining us in that case, but they're going to move heaven and earth to make it possible. Arsenal are yet to officially formalize their interest, but Atletico are well aware of our interest. The situation is chaotic, but my role is to provide the absolute facts to the best of my knowledge in real time, not predict the future. It's difficult enough tracking Berta and his 1,000 spinning plates technique. It's even harder when he silently speaks to ex-colleagues at Atletico with whom he has a lot of trust with. But I have presented the facts. Genuinely feel a lot of relief talking about all this now. It's been exhausting to track for 14 months. I need to sleep now as I've been awake all night contacting sources. So yeah, make of that one there what you will. Big up hand of Arsenal. Atletico Madrid won Victor Gyökeres. The club has made inquiries about him. He's a striker they like a lot. Again, he's been linked with them. What is our stance? Again, Julian Alvarez has communicated his desire to join Barcelona and only Barcelona after, going public with his desire to leave Atletico Madrid. It feels like a year ago where the Real Madrid bid rumors were obviously running amok. Barcelona have already had one proposal worth 86.4 million rebuffed that sparked a series of ugly statements from Atleti, who insist that the player had a long-term contract and they would not sell to their rivals. Ideally, if Atletico were to offload Alvarez, they would favour doing business with a non-Spanish side. But Alvarez is not keen on a return to England, where he already won 2 Premier Leagues plus numerous other trophies with PSG. PSG would also be ready to with City. PSG would be able to make a big financial commitment. Should he signal his willingness to move to France, this looks as unlikely. Arsenal have already pushed hard to sign Alvarez this summer, per sources with knowledge of secret talks that took place with Barca chief Deco at the Torreo Milena Hotel in Catalonia on May 27th. During those conversations, it was mentioned that the Premier League champions were trying to land Alvarez, who was previously signed by Gunner Sporting director Andrea Berta at Atletico. So, to be honest, if there was a willingness to get it done, there's a lot that's in our favour in that Berta's, obviously, he got him to sign for Atletico Madrid, so there must be dialogue with Alvarez's camp, but fundamentally, the guy don't want us in it, so forget. Politely, the Premier League champions were told by the players' camp that he's desperate to join Barcelona and was not willing to consider rival offers. Fair play, so that's all that really matters. The 26-year-old probably isn't going to end up at Arsenal, people. So good, I've got the article twice there. Again, Hand of Arsenal said a few days ago, Arsenal will officially open talks with Aston Villa to sign Morgan Rogers in the coming weeks. There's a real willingness from the English champions to get a deal done at a reasonable price. Fee will be key. Personal terms are not an issue. Make sure you're smashing the like button. 100 mil is kind of pricey, but that's the going rate. Big up, DG. We need Tonali, Rogers, Bacola. Forget about Alvarez. Wouldn't be against that. Gyökeres, a penalty box and transition merchant. We need a link-up man, though. Trying to get greedy and have both. This is why, I can't lie, I'd park the striker thing off until next summer. I'd love Julian Alvarez. I'd love Krupi, because Krupi could long-term be playing up front, can play out wide. Actually, Areola, now of Liverpool, previously of Bournemouth, was playing him in that kind of 10 role. So if you can get one of them, great. But if you could get me a left winger or left wing options, like if you got me an out and out left winger, you got me Rodgers, I definitely need a centre mid, couple of reinforcements maybe in the back line. I'd be all right, if I'm honest. Scouts just do your jobs. Scouts just do your job. So yeah, we've gone over the Julian Alvarez stuff. Arsenal allegedly are set to accelerate interest in Morgan Rodgers and are confident that personal terms will not be an issue with the player. Arsenal have yet to contact Aston Villa, but the expectation is that their valuation will approach 100 million. Romano said PSG tried to enter the Julian Alvarez story and he said, thanks, but I want to go to Barcelona. Arsenal also tried to approach Atletico Madrid and Alvarez's camp to understand the situation, but the answer was exactly the same. Now we have to understand what Atletico Madrid will do with these two clubs. PSG have gone very cold. Arsenal, in case the door opens again in the next weeks, we'll have to see what happens. In this story, Barcelona remains strong with the agreement with the player. They know that the player wants to go there. When Alvarez says, I want to fulfill my dream, the dream is Barcelona. So let's just leave that dead in the water. Ornstein has been speaking as well. On Tonali, he said, Arsenal have had a long-standing interest in Sandro Tonali. Smash the like button, folks. I'm sure they explored it again for this summer. But right now, I don't know of them pursuing it in the way that Tottenham and Manchester City appear to be. On Alex Scott, he said, Arsenal really like Alex Scott. Bournemouth have no intention of selling him, even if it was at an astronomical offer. He's been discussed at Arsenal. The admiration is there, but whether it materializes into a transfer is unclear. Now, The Guardian has spoken about Morgan Rodgers and said he's been made our number one target of this transfer window. A fee could be around 100 million. Naturally, it's going to get to something like that. And we're allegedly expected to make an approach, and it could cost up to 100 million. Talks with Villa have yet to commence, but they're expected to make contact in the coming weeks. The former European champions do not want to sell the 23-year-old, who has interest from Chelsea and others, but Arsenal are confident of doing a deal. Rodgers, who is in the US with the England squad as they prepare to face Ghana in their second match at the World Cup, is believed to be keen on joining Arsenal after moving to Villa Park from Middlesbrough for 8 million in 2024. He signed a new 6-year deal. So I stand corrected. It's not 5. It's 6-year deal with Aston Villa in November after obviously doing his thing. He was named player of the tournament in the Europa League. He's obviously won that. Rodgers' potential signing could cast doubt over the long-term future of Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard, who had a difficult season despite the club ending their 22-year wait for a league title. Rodgers is also capable of playing on the left or right flanks, with Arsenal thought to be open to selling Martinelli this summer. The Gunners are likely to make an approach to sign Ayoub Bouardi from Lille. The 18-year-old Moroccan midfielder is being monitored by Liverpool and could cost around 70 million. Arsenal expected to seal the signing of Jerry Mwanga after making progress in negotiations with Leicester over the 16-year-old, who is the second youngest player to make a Premier League appearance. The winger is expected to cost between 10 and 15 million and could join an impressive cohort of young players at the Emirates that includes Max Dellman. So we didn't really learn anything there. Arsenal and Man United are tracking Alex Scott. He's had a standout season. He came close to making the World Cup squad. Daily Mail Sport understands any successful move would need to be around 60 million. You know what? I wouldn't be against it, I wouldn't be against 60 million. I wouldn't be against 60 million for Alex Scott. Especially a lot of variables would have to fall into place, mainly because I'm not just looking at this season, but seasons. Like I can't tell you in the next 2-3 years if Marino, Kai Havertz, Odegaard, Trossard, even the Gyökeres, but mainly them and some others that I've missed out will be here. So he's 22, he's English, he can play in a couple of roles together with everything else that we've got. That there's not that doubt. It makes sense. Does it make sense this summer where while he can play as a 10, plays as 8, play out wide, technically proficient, presses well, can finish, and he is a player on paper, you can see Arteta doing things with him. Is he that out-and-out centre mid that you would have to challenge or, play in place of Miles Lewis-Skelly, Declan Rice, Zubimendi? You get where I'm going, our midfield options. Is he necessarily, if you get Rodgers, you've got Odegaard, you've got Eze, you've got Wanyeri, we know there's rumours, is he a priority in that 10? He can play off the right, actually. Is it a priority? Or would it make more sense to a Tonali Bouardi for however much that is? Your Morgan Rodgers for however much that is? That Club Brugge left winger or whatever left winger. Now, if there's money going around spare, and I'm not against it, but it doesn't seem... For me, I feel the same way about Alex Scott like I do with a striker in that if he doesn't move this summer, a year from now, we'll be sitting here doing watch-alongs and having content and whatnot. I'd more believe that we're going to try and get it done there. So, I don't know, people. It makes sense for Liverpool. It makes sense for Man United. It makes sense for Arsenal. It makes sense why Bournemouth are trying to tie him down to a new deal. It does expire in 2028. Hold tight on that new deal. And they're trying to put a release clause. Now, you're going to do a madness. Hand of Arsenal did link us to Nico Paz. And apparently, Romano has said Nico Paz's future is to be decided later this week. His Real Madrid and Como will meet on Thursday. Real Madrid prefer to activate the 9 million euros buy clause and sell the player. Como to keep current deal conditions. So Real Madrid is saying, you know what, we can buy him back for 9 mil. Premier League got money. Let's go in and get some top Wonga for him. I don't know. What would you lot say to Savinho? While Manchester City considers Savinho an important asset for the future, they admit the possibility of an exit if an offer is deemed appropriate, according to this article. In order to sell, Manchester City have set a price tag close to 50 million euros for the winger, people. And there's obviously report. I went over this. Like, apparently, we made a loan inquiry around him. Kyran Thompson, who went to West Ham, now Arsenal, is set to go to Spurs, people, after rejecting a scholarship. So, we signed him for £1.5 million or 1.1 or something. He's gone for free. Arsenal youngster Kyran Thompson is closing in on a move to Tottenham Hotspur. Arsenal are keen to tie him down to a new extended deal, with his current scholarship terms expiring on June the 30th. But a deal has not been struck, leaving the player free to move. I mean, if you believe in your heart of hearts there is a clearer pathway at Spurs, go and do it, because it's not necessarily clear that there is a pathway for a winger at this moment in time. So, yeah, man, you owe it to yourself. Arsenal expressed an interest in a loan for Savinho, but the idea was quickly rejected by City, who made it clear they would only accept a permanent transfer. Spurs have been held in talks with him. Newly promoted Saudi League side Come on, man. There's no way I'm getting that, folks. Big you lot all up tuned in, and make sure we're smashing the like button, but I'm not getting that, man. There's no way on God's green earth I'm getting that pronunciation. But you know what? For the DG Nation, Al Dairaya are committed to signing Leandro Trossard and have made an offer worth 20 million euros to Arsenal. They're offering a hefty salary, which could reach at least 10 million euros net. The only question is whether the player wants to move. Now, on the face of it, Trossard, he played a lot more football than many people would believe last season. You started in the Champions League final. Yes, there's been times you've looked frustrated. Hasn't really been this season. You could argue on paper you're going to start the season as that first choice left winger. Although you know that if Morgan Rogers comes in to go with Eze and probably that Greek, you're probably going to struggle. Cristiano Ronaldo's been denied a hat-trick. You're probably going to struggle. Now, your age, length of contract, finances, and all of that is important. He's currently playing at the World Cup, and I must admit, every week he's closing in on an exit. Not only an exit, but a move to another club. I still don't think we sell Trossard and Martinelli. I'll be shocked if we do both of those, although both have been linked with moves away. If you believe reports, he's signing for Trossard, that is. He's signing for Aston Villa, he's signing for Newcastle, he's going to Saudi Arabia, he's going to Turkey, etc., etc. So it'll be interesting to see what we do with him, because if we're trying to really seize the presence and retain the title, you can make a case Trossard needs to stay ahead of Martinelli. With longevity in mind and who's easier to move on, you could make a case of it being Trossard, people. Martinelli is said to be keen to explore a move abroad this summer. He has a year left on his contract at Arsenal, which can be extended by a further season, and has previously had interest from Bayern Munich. Would you not sell Martinelli? Man, Arsenal might conceivably sign two left wingers if Trossard and Martinelli leave the club this summer. Berta has been exploring deals for Bacola, Zelosis, and Andrea Barenzia. I can't say his name, but the Sociedad. I don't think we signed both. Arsenal's interest in FC Michelin winger Dario Osario has been confirmed by the club's technical director. That's how I know we're not in for it. Because when we're signing these young players or when we're signing established players, nobody talks too much, you know. The players don't talk too much. Arsenal or being the buyers and the sellers and the selling club, they don't talk too much. Anytime people start chatting, I don't believe you're signing for Arsenal. When Caicedo was chatting, you knew it wasn't happening. When Mudryk was chatting, you knew it wasn't happening. When Locatelli was talking off, you knew it wasn't happening. When you just stay quiet, that's what happens. Now I get it. FC Michelin, when you scouted him, you knew he could help you immediately and be sold on to stronger teams in Europe for a profit. And you're going to say, whether he goes to Arsenal or not, because you're going to make a case he needs to make that break before Arsenal. If you say Arsenal's interested, he puts a couple more pounds on him. Now, I ain't going to talk like no expert, but a part of me says, me looking at the white winger market, ain't an abundance. Bacola, I like him, but he can prove to be the answer. And because of the level of potential, I'd make it happen. But don't act like you sign Bacola and we're lit, you know. Like, he's better than Martinelli, but that's the bar's not there. So, yeah, I don't mind us scouting. Osario was on Arsenal's radar in 2025, and although a transfer failed to finalise, the Gunners remain eager to bring him to the Emirates Stadium after he scored 8 goals and provided 10 assists across 49 games across all competitions last season. Hardly stand out. The Chilean international, I mean, the last Chile winger we signed was all right, has 26 caps for his country. We know that Arsenal have been looking into Osario, but we also know other clubs in the Premier League have done the same. I also think it's well known that Bournemouth looked into him historically. There are other clubs in the Premier League also looking into him. In my opinion, he serves the Premier League very, very good because he has a hard-working mentality. His defensive transition runs are amazing. That's good and recognized in the modern day, but I need to hear about goals and assists. His top speed is amazing. All right, Martinelli works hard. Martinelli does stuff defensive transitions and makes good runs. And Martinelli's fast. Not hearing and on top of the numbers, not that I'm being a numbers man, because as I said, I don't mind scouting. I'm not moved yet. I'm not convinced yet. You ain't said anything about trickery, footballing IQ. We've got people like this. Left-footed right winger. Okay. First time a green flag. Can go to the right and to the left of his direct opponent. He has the full package seen as the next Alexis Sanchez in Chile. I can see him making a difference in the Premier League. Yeah, because you know you're going to zang someone. I think what we're good at is to have an eye for identifying potential that fits with Michelin's style of play. We also believe we also have players who fit the top 4 leagues in the world because that is our dream. And our idea is to sell players to the biggest league, especially also the Premier League. See, they're just trying to chop bread, man. Trying to chop bread. We have been linked with Somerville, as have Aston Villa, Manchester United, and Tottenham Hotspur, as well as Roma and AC Milan, folks. Arsenal are set to be handed a welcome transfer windfall as former Arsenal player Folarin Balogun places himself at the centre of a summer race for signature. Arsenal including a sell-on clause, which will see them bank 17.5% of any future transfer. He has an asking price of 50 million euros, so yeah, it helps. Again, we've gone over Real Madrid. Apparently, they value him at 60 million euros. You know, at 50-odd million, as much as I don't think you really fix anything beyond being, I can make a case of a 10. The level of talent and potential, it makes sense. Apparently, there's been some news in relation to our pre-season plans. Arsenal doing well to not be travelling this summer to Asia, America, Australia, like some clubs. World Cup year, short window for holidays for players, limited squads at the start of the season. The lack of travelling and playing close to home is a good choice by the club to start its preparation for the defence of the league, Premier League champions. Hand of Arsenal also said Arsenal are looking to play Dortmund and Como in the home pre-season friendlies. Nothing finalised yet, but they're the main front runners, with one potentially being at the Emirates, being an Emirates Cup game. Potential dates are the 9th of August and the 12th of August. So if we play those 16th of August, we've got the Community Shield, right? So we'll have to see how that all works out. Apparently, Tomiyasu is unlikely to take the opportunity to stay at Ajax next season. The Premier League and other European clubs are looking at him at the World Cup, where he's played in both Japan matches. If only you could stay fit, man. I'd actually run it back, man, for Tomiyasu. What a player. That's the kind of prototype we need. We need someone that could if we could just sign a Swiss Army knife that could play across that back line. I'm cool. I think you get that, get a centre mid, get a left winger. If you can get a striker, whether it's a Krupi, whether it's a Julian Alvarez, fair play. I know a lot of other stuff is reliant on other players moving and things of that ilk 100%. Like, Jesus is good. We're going to need bodies in it. As much as people would say, like, not to sell everyone, but people would, if the right offer comes in for Kai, people would entertain it. Marino the same, Odegaard the same, Trossard the same, Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, Trossard, the list goes on, would have no players. So it'd be interesting, man. I actually think we're going to sign a backup goalkeeper, because I think Kepa cuts. I don't know for centre mid, because I think we're going to sign one regardless. And you wouldn't say you need depth in Norgard's place, because he's a body. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see exactly what we do. We still ain't got 100 likes, man. Make sure you're smashing the like button, folks. So, yeah, appreciative to all of you lot tuned in. Magnum Vodkas, appreciate you. Come on, you gunners. Thank you for the super chat, my boy. Thank you for the super chat, my bro. DG, do you think we're waiting for the 30th of June, the new financial year? Potentially. You know, that's why we didn't sign Hincapié permanently, but I don't think it's anything to do with that. I think if you're Berta, if you're Arteta, if you're the people in the know that know our plans, and this is plan A, plan B, plan C, it's nothing. To us, it's just radio silence and rumours, innit? If I'm completely honest with you. Sell Odegaard, Marino, Jesus, and Trossard, Martinelli, just over 100 milli, plus the bread from the loan guys. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that level of change and turnover. Got to keep Kai for another season. But if we were to get our money back, or a slight profit, if rumours were to be believed, everyone's got asking price, man. Unless you're Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, historically Saka, I'd say Juri Timber. Rice, if I haven't made that clear, they're the only ones I'd consider unsellable. Then you've got people that are going nowhere in it, like Miles Lewis Kelly, Timber, Hincapié, Calafiori, Zubamendi, couple players